Everybody, this is Banded Badgers, and this, of course, is the Great British Brush Off. It's me, I'm Dave, that's Steve, there's Craig, and returning is Dallas Kemp from Atomic Mass Games. We might have done something right, maybe something wrong, but Dallas is back.
I'm just super unsure, so I had to come back to like taste it again. You know.
Exactly. The pool was another gold star, a Badgers gold star. That's what it was. That's the effort. So we were talking just before we came on live about some stuff that's happening at Adepticon, and those prizes, gold, silver, gold, silver, bronze, looked awesome. But the Badgers gold star is amazing. I think
it's way better.
Exactly. And costs nothing, literally.
It's rare.
I'll send you some. It'll be fun.
Does anybody remember those old tin? You'd get those tin sheriff stars when you were a kid. So sheriff star, and it had like a little tab that you could bend over and it clamp it on your shirt.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like
there we go. There's a whole other merch there for us. But anyway, for those of you joining us
that
live,
like button. Go to the store. Go to the merch shop.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, there's got to be at least two other people who cold hard cash only. That's the best way to do it. Go to a merch store now.
Get a tin star. get a pair of budgie smugglers and a beach towel. Right,
There's
a beach towel. Tell me more.
Oh yeah, it's a beach towel.
we have a few different bits and pieces. And there's more stuff coming as well. But anyway, enough about merch. Dallas, thank you again for coming back, hanging out with us. I know we're going to have a chat for the next couple of hours. We are going to be painting. We're painting, obviously, Shatterpoint. But before we do that, let's put up on the screen. Would it be possible without Atomic Mass Games, who have sponsored this entire series? We've been doing this on a weekly basis. We're painting, we're interviewing, we're chatting, we're unboxing, we're reviewing. And at the end of all of that, we're going to be playing Shatterpoint in a public event that we're running. And if you're anywhere near Gatwick here in the UK, come along. It would be good times. Now, we are, of course, with our other friends, Army Painter, as always, on the Brush Off, and Turbo Dork, because we like to see them all here. Now, the other thing, we are, of course, painting Star Wars Shatterpoint. This is the box set. I will bring it up because I've got it here behind me. This is what we're painting. It is huge. It is heavy. It's not so heavy now. Actually, I've taken out some buildings. I'm building all the figures. I've got some bits and pieces. Yeah. There's still a lot of heft in there, but it's a big old box. There is a lot.
I'm legally obligated to say you have to wear steel-toe boots to handle that box. Like you might drop it on your toe. Don't drop it because the corners are reinforced. So he's got a point.
Are they?
And
really?
then today, the box is reinforced. The box it's a double set corner as well. It's a hefty cardboard box.
It's a hefty box.
Yeah. I'm going to be we'll go around the table and we'll quickly do this. But I'm going to be painting some terrain as well as Ventress. What is everybody painting? Let's go with you, Dallas, because I know you got something cool to show off.
I've got Kit Fisto.
Let's have a look at that.
The upcoming box set that I can't remember the name of because I can never remember the name of the box sets. So Kit Fisto,
that is
working
awesome.
on him. He's smiling as he should be too.
Yes,
he's always happy.
He's always happy. He's the happiest Jedi.
Yes.
What are you going to go for?
I'm doing Chopper tonight.
Hey.
That is awesome. I mean, look at that.
I like that yellow. Was that a trial run color selection? Because that's a nice
Yes,
yellow.
that was to see how my orange was going to cover.
That's nice.
That's pretty good.
My cheat.
You've started early.
I'll start 5 seconds behind you.
Minus star points. Minus star points. I was going to throw up you can also find shush, Dave.
I'm painting this.
Why are you happy? You're not normally happy. We're not actually. We're going to go Dragon Skull Studios.
well, fuck off then.
You're on to something here with the minor star points. Like, the chat could give minor star points out, and they can add to an overall score for who gets the big star. And the major star.
I think so. I think that's a good point. But you can find Craig and all of his stuff. Yeah, is dragonskullstudios.com. There we go. Steve, over to you.
Thanks, Dave. I'm painting good, so just follow orders, mainly because they're all black, and I thought I'd cheat. But then I realised me.
Are you're gonna batch paint?
Quite as easy, I think it's. I'll stick them back up so you don't have to look at my face.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought I'd go with mainly black, but I'm going to shade up.
You thought that same thing on a snow trooper.
Yeah, I know. I learnt my lesson there as well. I'm going to try and paint the highlights, which is what Dallas was talking about last time he was on, about how to paint black. So I'm going to try it. Test myself.
I love that squad. That squad is so cool looking.
It is, and there's so much you can do with it. Like if you try and get cheeky with some OSL, not that I'm going to try that, but if painting some weapon effects and stuff like that. I'll see what I can do.
All right, Dave, what are you painting?
He's painting terrain.
Yeah, I've already done mine. I'm painting the terrain, and I've got.
Dave might be a little bit lagged out. No, he's frozen.
Oh no!
It's over to you, Steve.
Yeah, it's over to me. Right. Well, with no further ado, then I think we should just get on with it. So on your marks, get set, paint. And I'll put some music on. And if you can't hear it, please tell me, and I'll reset it.
I was pushing the buttons. I was pushing music.
Oh,
go on then.
Right. You should shortly hear the relaxing, dulcet tones of several forest animals and possibly some birds.
Golden Glade.
This is the real reason that Dallas has come back for the Elven Glade soundtrack. That's what it is.
Ewok Glade. It's an Ewok Glade.
I mean,
an Ewok. Yeah, we could do that.
Lovely sound
of
indoor. Forest Moon.
Have you got the Ewok set, Craig?
No, I do not. All right, Steve, have you put paint on your brush yet?
No. I put paint in the camps.
So another thing to
start, it's fine. I mean, I'm painting mostly black characters, so I haven't really got anything to motivate in terms of time saving.
Another thing to point out is we do have. Steve goes quiet.
I was putting paint in the palette. Sorry, takes concentration. Yeah, we do have what, Dave? What do we have?
I'm pushing all these extra buttons to make it all like chill down. For those of you joining us live, if you have questions, shout out. Put up questions into the live chat, and we'll bring them up on screen for you all to see. And we can ask Dallas, we can ask Craig, we might even ask Steve. Who knows? But we'll try and answer those questions for you. So give it a go. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't bother putting questions into the live chat because it won't work. But you can put questions into the comments below the video. And if we get any questions, we'll pass them over to Dallas or to Craig or whoever, and we'll get those answers for you. Or stick your questions on a postcard, as always.
Or send them by pigeon.
We tried pigeon, but we have a lot of different pigeons in the UK.
Oh, they never know where to go.
Right, so I'm going to start with Ventress first. I also managed to find a very big brush. I found a cheap one, so I'm going to paint terrain because I don't have an airbrush. And I didn't prime it in the base color.
Color scheme?
I'm going to stick to the box. I'm one of those people who wants to stick to the box. and I'm going to try to paint one face of this door, which is absolutely brilliant. The amount of detail on this door is incredible. You can't really see it there, but there is like various ridges and. But actually, I'll put it under the mini cam.
Buttons. There's little buttons in there.
Yeah, the key buttons. So if I bring this one up, there we go. Zoop. There we go. You can see. Let's get some paint out of the way. Look at that. I mean, there is a ton of detail there.
Yeah,
that is pretty.
I love
pretty
that
cool.
terrain. If I knew you were painting terrain, I would have grabbed a couple pieces of mine and showed them to you for inspiration.
Well, actually, saying that, there's two things that I found out today. So I was on the Atomic Mass Games website, and then you've got the Star Wars Shatterpoint section, and in there, and I can share my screen. I'll bring this up because this was I enjoyed this. So if I bring this up on the screen, give it a second. Is that working? Well, it's not doing it. There we go. So if I make this, so on the Atomic Mass Games Star Wars Shatterpoint page, there is this, and it shows all the minis from the core box set and all the paint. And what I didn't realize is if you click on one, you can take it full screen. And Steve, you might find this useful. And you can rotate the minis.
Oh wow.
And I love that. I did not know that was there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, this is superb. Yeah. I can see the back of her head. I can see where the tattoos go. Even that these tiny sort of pinprick points at the back. I thought that was amazing. I'm gonna review all of these now. So I need to step up my game a little bit. But I'm gonna follow that. And then when I found that, I also found out that at the bottom of the Shatterpoint shop page or the product range page, there was a couple of videos. So you mentioned inspiration for terrain. Will was airbrushing some terrain, the same piece that I've got here. So earlier today, I had Will on in the background. I was like, all right, I could do that. Yeah, I could do this. That's pretty cool. But I don't have an airbrush. But it was quite good, actually. Really good video. Highly recommend. It's available on YouTube as well.
Anything you can do with an airbrush, you can do with just a big old brush.
Yeah.
Like you just need a big old brush and just do some soft dry brushing, and you can get the same vibe.
Right. So I'm going to start with.
This is what I did with mine. I added a little plastic card foot to mine.
Yep.
So all the way around, you get like little debris leaning up against it, like
That's
grass
nice
tufts
idea,
and gravel.
Yeah. Oh wow! Yeah.
That is a good idea.
And then the little stripes, I just taped these off and used a sponge.
Yeah.
And then I pulled the tape off for the striping. Nice and easy. Got like a long vertical one there.
Yeah. That's cool.
I like having that little like set decoration to kind of make it feel more lived in, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's give this. Actually, what I've got here, and I go back to my Ventress image. So it's right up there. Okay.
Dragonborn Industries had a question.
Oh.
Cool. We'll get there in a sec. I'm just. That's you've got it, Steve.
Okay, so the question is, with the new implementation of spirals and the All the Way squad, how do you think that will shake up the meta?
Who's that question for?
You, definitely you.
Huh. They're asking the wrong person that kind of question.
That's probably a question for Will, really, isn't it?
Yeah. You
missed the Will interview.
Yeah, the spiral, that's going to shake up the meta in a way unbelievably unseen before, in a manner in which an unprecedented amount of spies will be implemented across the different gameplay proclivities. I don't know.
Everybody will play a spy.
At least once. Like I was telling y'all before the stream, I'm terrible at these games. I make rules up as I play.
You do have the added advantage though, as we were talking about, which is
wrong
which is
guy
quite
for
fun.
that question. Dallas is getting called out in chat.
Yeah, that's probably true. That is way outside my purview. I used to play a lot of tournament games. I used to go to a lot of tournaments, and I was never a meta person. I always played the dark horse stuff, the things that nobody was playing.
Mm-hmm.
So like even if I would just be the wrong person to ask how the meta is going to be shaken up. Sorry, chat.
So we were talking before we went live. We were talking about Adepticon. What? When is that? Is that 2 weeks?
Yeah, literally 2 weeks from today, we will be flying out for Adepticon. So the Thursday after that it starts, and it goes till Sunday. It's gonna be super awesome. Like if you haven't been before, I know Craig's going. This is Craig's first time.
Yep.
It's a really good time.
You have to make sure that you two get to meet up, and it'd be good to see some photos of badgers meeting in the real world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chick and I are very easy to find.
Now you're going to be doing some classes as well during the weekend, correct, Dallas?
I am. We have we worked with Adepticon, and we got we have an AMG classroom. So it is all weekend long. There's a Atomic Mass Games classroom set up, and we have teachers painting all weekend long and teaching in that classroom.
Cool.
We've got Brendan Roy, who, if you read any of the credit sheets in our products, there's a high percent chance that Brendan Roy painted the studio miniature of our stuff. He does a lot of it. We've got Ron Cruzy painting classes, who is one of our scoping coordinators here at the Time Mass Games. I'm teaching classes. I'm doing special effects and I'm doing skin tones. You can have Mark Sarastro doing classes with us.
Oh, nice.
Everybody loves Sarastro. And then we got Aaron Lovejoy, Elizabeth Beckley doing a couple classes. So it's going to be really, it'll be really, really cool.
Nice. I'm just going through some of the stuff that's in chat. For those of you joining us live, if you have questions, do shout them out. Don't be shy, or let us know what you're painting. If you're painting with us, we'd love to know what you're painting. Just have to put the paintbrush down and type. I've just noticed there as well. Dragon Ball Industry says, still on my second core set. Wow. I'm still on the first core set. It's going to take a while.
Are any of you a paint every night kind of person? Where you do make sure you do at least a little bit each night? Or are y'all more, you have a set day and you try to get
my set day? I literally have done very, very, very little of painting for myself. Most of my painting is all done on stream in front of a live audience, and I've learnt on the job. In fact, that's the reason we started this show. So there is a story attached to this. So there was Joe and Steve, who both used to paint miniatures, said before we started the Great British Brush Off, we need to paint some minis. You're going to love it, Dave. And I was like, oh, I don't want to get into another hobby and everything else. And they said, no, you'll love it. And then during that night, I had the idea, if we're going to do this, we're going to call it the Great British Brush Off, and I'm going to invite pro painters from all around the world to teach me how to paint. And that's how it started. And so I got in touch with some people who I didn't know. And over the years, we've added to that kind of roster of pro painters, again, from all over, including Craig. That's how we met Craig as well. Just by seeing his stuff on Instagram that he was painting and posting and sharing. And that's what we did. So all of my experience comes from learning by pro painters sharing their tips and tricks and advice with me on the brush off.
That's awesome.
For me, Dallas, I try to paint daily. I do try to keep in that habit. I didn't do it last year, and I didn't do it. So 2 years ago, I set out with a goal. I did on Instagram, a 52 miniatures project. I painted at least one mini a week and shared my journey as I did that.
That's awesome.
Really enjoyed it.
I'm definitely a firm believer in an hour a day will change your life. Like, the next thing you know, you'll have a fully painted army, a fully painted force, fully painted train set. Because it's that hour a night, it's that hour night. It just suddenly becomes like, we all have those moments where it's just like, oh man, it's already March. Like, where'd January go? And if you did an hour night, you'd be like, man, I already painted that squad box or, that unit. I think I painted more in the past 6 years than I've painted in my entire life.
Is that just by being disciplined and doing the hour a night?
Yeah, I think it's that discipline because like even I come home, right, and I sit down and I'll doodle around on my Legion army or my Shatterpoint squad or my Marvel Crisis Protocol, and you just end up finishing stuff very quick. Like you're just like, oh, now I got to paint something else. Oh, I got to paint something else. So, whereas I used to crunch for like a tournament, right? I'd be like, I got to paint this whole army in like 2 weeks, and then you don't paint for months.
Yeah.
That's I'm excited because I am 14 miniatures away from having every Marvel Crisis Protocol character painted.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And that's like 170 some characters.
Are you allowed to hint at what's coming next for both Shatterpoint and Marvel Crisis?
Hint at what's coming next. More characters. Did you see the teasers for Adepticon with the Ahsoka Vader? Did we talk about that last time?
We did, yeah.
We did.
Awesome. I mean, it looks awesome. Seriously, it looks awesome.
Yeah, and that's available online too. Like in case, I don't know the full details, but I believe that's available online too. So if you're not getting to go to Adepticon, you're able to pick that up.
Yeah, it's actually on. Let me see if I can find it. It's on the website. Let me see if I can bring this up.
Yeah, that's what my fear. I'm going to stand in line, and they're going to say it's sold out, and then I'm going to be going. I'm going to the website.
to the person in front of you as well.
Yeah.
Where is it? No, I can't see it now. Where's it gone?
Ross is listening, but he's also doing something else, so he might not answer immediately. But Ross can probably confirm it a little bit. Like I think we'll have plenty. That's more of a Ross question than a Dallas question.
So I'm doing 2 different squad packs for a charity event in the first weekend of May, and I showed her the preview picture of the I'm No Jedi, and the director of the event was like, "Oh, do you think it?" And I said, "I would not have it ready in time." That is a lot of work. So.
It is. I have painted one. The studio one was painted by Brennan, and then I painted one, and it's. I don't think it's a lot of work, but it's definitely, you know, it's more than a character, you know, one character, obviously.
Yeah.
But but there's so many ways to shortcut that terrain. Like I was able to shortcut that terrain quite a bit by using like some good dry brushing techniques and I mean I utilize the airbrush obviously too, but that's just for base colors and tonality. I don't do anything fancy.
I was trying to find it on the website. I can't find it now. But it does look awesome.
Yeah, I need to paint one for myself. I haven't even painted one for myself. But I definitely need that Vader.
Yeah.
Don't you get to keep the one that you painted?
The one I painted was it ended up being a gift for somebody.
Ah, I see. I'm using a very bright blue for Ventress for her outfit. It's looking pretty good. I do like this color.
Oh, somebody asked what my Legion army is in the chat. I have a Shadow Collective force, and I have a clone force because boy, oh boy, I love clones. But with the new Legion refresh, I am totally in on Empire right now.
So on the refresh, will the Shadow Collective box be going away? Is it retiring or?
No, it's not going away.
Okay.
No. Shadow Collective is still part of the game.
So
I have found the convention special. I'm just gonna you keep talking and I'll put it up on the screen when you're done.
So that made me think of another question. Is there ever a time, or will they retire, like in Shatterpoint, will they retire squad sets eventually? You know, like this one's going to go away, or will, you know, they stay like perpetuity?
I don't think we've retired anything.
No, I haven't seen anything retired. It was just an interest, you know, it's like.
No, our goal is to not make anything retire, right? We want you to, you guys know now, like talking to me and Shake, we're hobbyists. Like,
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of time and love and patience to, you know, commit to that time to paint these miniatures. And, you know, I always say you spend more time, even if you're even if your focus is tournament, you still spend more time painting than you do playing the game, right?
Yep.
You know, if you spend, you know, I might spend 2 or 3 hours painting this Kit Fisto. Well, that's the amount of time it takes to play, you know, 2 games, you know, or 1 game, right? And I still got to paint 7 more characters to play the game, right? So if you just do 3 hours per that, 8 characters, you know, that's a lot of games. So you're already just spending more time hobbying than gaming. And we never want anybody to feel like we're taking their toys away from them because we know that sucks. We don't like that. So nothing's going to the goal is to never have anything go away, right? It might change,
right?
But Shadow Collector is going nowhere.
I think to enforce that as well. I think that's we talk about the poses of these minis quite a lot, and we have done the slightly larger size as well. These are not the standard kind of 28 mil. These are slightly bigger. So the detail is there, the pose is there, the terrain is there. You can make these cinematic events in your own game, and I think that is, like you say, it's part of the hobby. It is. It's part of that kind of. I'm going to now have this fight, and when my characters are painted, I get to enjoy it. I get to enjoy it with friends. We're going to play games. We're going to play. Each game is going to be different. And then, should you ever get bored of that, there'll be a new set that comes out or a set that's available that you see in the shops and go, oh, look, and now I want to play Han Solo, Luke Skywalker wearing their Stormtrooper outfits. And I build, I buy it, I build it, I paint it, I play it. I think there's a big... and also you can have these set up. You know, you can make your own little diorama in your office or game room, whatever you might have access to, put it on a bookshelf and enjoy them till you get to play them next. This is not the kind of game necessarily that you're going to put back in the box. You're going to have it readily available out on display in some form.
Oh yeah, so many people I know who are hobby miniature players, like they have at least one small case to display their favorite miniatures, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I have in my living room, over off camera, obviously, I have 2 glass cases and 2 bookshelves covered in miniatures, and then I have the bookshelf behind me that are covered in miniatures. Because I want them to be out. Like those are my little war dollies. I know I called it war dollies.
I mentioned this as well. This is, let's see if this works. There it is. That is the convention special for 2025. Yeah. And also, for those of you who are listening live, watching live, or just on YouTube, for those of you in the UK, I believe, and Dallas can correct me, that this is also going to be available at the UK Games Expo. I believe.
I believe so, but I cannot actually confirm that.
If there's any stock left. Otherwise, if everyone goes mad and riots at Adepticon because they want this is an awesome piece. I mean, look at this. I don't think you get to smoke with it. So bear that in mind.
There's no smoke, yeah.
No smoke. You make your own smoke. But this is awesome. But this is what I mean about now you get a set as well, which is a display piece. I think it's incredible. So, for example, can you use these minis in game?
Yeah, those characters have rules for those miniatures that are not the rules that you already have. Okay. The little terrain piece is super cool. I'm planning on converting mine, and putting it I want to build like a 3-story building out of parts of Shatterpoint terrain, and then put that that Sith artifact on top of it, so it's like way up in the middle on a tower instead of down low. We couldn't do that for this set, right? Because that would, you would more than triple the cost of it, right? because you're adding. But like that's the cool thing about the hobby is like I want that to be up on a 3-story building, so I'm going to cobble together a little 3-story building and have it way up in the middle. So when I set up my table, it's dead in the center of the table, and this
it's a centerpiece,
the Sith artifact is just right in the middle, and that's what you're fighting around. So
awesome.
I'm super stoked for that. The little smoke machine there. We have a little smoke machine, obviously, and when we get to make videos, when I make videos with Tony, that's the favorite part of my job because he runs the camera and I set up the miniatures when we make the videos. And then I also get to run the smoke machine, and I'm immediately I'm like, give me the smoke machine. He's like, we don't need another shot with smoke. And I'm like, do we? Are you sure? I think this scene would be better with smoke, Tony.
It's awesome. I love that. It's an awesome system. Awesome diorama. Love it. Right. It's we are 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's what else we got going on? Let's see what's going on in chat. Have we missed any questions, chat?
Yes. Yes.
Remember to shout out questions.
There's a question for Dallas. So, what is Dallas hoping to see with year 3 of the Worthy this year?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. I've really been fascinated with the so like if anybody follows like the high-end painters, there's this trend to put the miniatures in front of like a fully painted backdrop, right? And this two-dimensionality like philosophy to it, where like, you know, we have painters that are now painting miniatures that look like, you know, a two-dimensional Renaissance painting. And we do these backdrops, these highly rendered backdrops. There are some painters that are actually making shadow box picture frames and making whole dioramas inside the shadow box picture frame. Wow. And I think that that's a very, very cool, but it also limits the viewing angle of the miniatures. I've been more fascinated with the remembering that these are 3-dimensional objects that have a back, that have just as much care put when we're thinking about a pose. Like, it's very easy to draw a pose. We all talk about poses a lot, and I love that. When we're looking at poses, it's easy to draw a pose that looks good from the front, but we also try to think about what does that pose look like from the back, right? Because like, you don't look at the front of your army. The front of your army is for your opponent. The back of your army is for you, and you want to have a distinct silhouette. You want to still look cool. So I'm hoping to see like an uptick in like 3-dimensionality. And what does that mean philosophically? I'm not quite sure. Like I have my expression that I'm going to bring to the Worthy this year of what that means, but that can mean so much for other people as well. So 3-dimensionality, the celebration of the full art. That's a really good question. I like that question.
That was Mooey. Thank you, Mooey.
So Dallas, it's the same kind of question there. Golden Demon is part of Adepticon.
Yeah.
Totally different. But and for as a person myself that's you know never walked through and seen the spectacle that's in those cases, do you see, you know, the changes from year to year in what goes on there, and then kind of like what the judges, do you never know you never know what the judges will think or what, you know, is gonna light their fire, so to say?
Yeah, I can't speak for the judges of Golden Demon, obviously.
Right.
But you can definitely always see like these trends happen And of course, trends are something you notice in retrospect. Like it's hard to see them in real time, right? We saw some really interesting things last year in some of the painting competitions that I'm curious if is going to translate to this year in the painting competitions. But if you go back through like the history of miniature painting, you can see trends in how things are painted. You can see trends in how things are blended. You can see trends in when somebody painted something and didn't blend it. And then like the next year, things were less blended and then less blended. And then now you have there's a whole trend called F smoothness where people celebrate not perfectly blended miniatures. I'm a big fan of blend perfectly when you can or when it's appropriate, but have rough, non-blended stuff where it's appropriate, where it looks cool, because that creates contrast. So you can see those trends. So I love walking through all the painting competitions and kind of like seeing, like, kind of guessing, like, oh, like you remember last year? Like, this guy definitely was inspired by last year. Like, will that carry over to this year? As far as judges, I'm always looking for in the worthy. We're always looking for like story, technical aptitude, and even more so than just pure technical aptitude, the equitable application of technical aptitude across the miniature. So like it's very frustrating to see somebody paint 70% of a miniature like in really like, wow, they really understood what they were doing. And then that last 30%, they're like, okay, so you didn't know what to do with the base. I see that, right? Like, I know you got the skill, but you didn't know how to execute it. So seeing that holistic full view of somebody's skill expressed, the story, the ambiance, like all that is what we're looking for in the worthy.
Oh, okay.
And somebody pushing the limits. I love watching people push the limits. Make me ask, what is art? What is art?
All right, we've got 10 minutes, and then we'll be at the top of the hour, and we'll check on everybody's progress.
I definitely like your guys's the painting competition that you guys will be hosting, with the fact that for somebody like me that, you know, has never entered a competition, that tends to shy away from that, you know, type of competition. You know, it almost makes me want to go, that type of competition I could get behind, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you're untested, right? It's an unknown. It's an unknown, right? You're unsure of where you stand. You're unsure of what your comparison is. Comparison is a scary thing, and we always say comparison is the death of joy, right? I should never look at Roman Lapat's painting and be like, I'll never be as good as him. I suck. Well, like, no, I'm as good as I am right now, and Roman Lapat's as good as he is right now. And we're both just on different points of the same journey. And both of our paths may not end up in the same spot, but they both end up in joy. And that's all that matters. And I'm asking different questions than Roman. Roman's asking different questions than you. So for me, the competition is about, like, the first time I competed, I wasn't there to win. I was there to get feedback. And that's what we really strive to bring to the worthy, is that opportunity for somebody to come in. And I'm going to ask you, the very first thing I'm going to ask you, so you're going to enter the miniature. I'm not going to be there because I don't actually look at the miniatures until Saturday night when we judge. I actually don't like seeing what's being entered, and I don't like seeing who entered what, because I love blind judging. Huge fan of blind judging. So you're going to enter the miniature, and then on Sunday when you come pick it up, you have the option to come talk to the judges And the very first thing I say to people is, what is your goal? Right? Because, if I judge a seal on its ability to climb a tree, the seal is always going to be a failure, right? But the seal doesn't have the goal to climb a tree, right? So I'm going to ask you, what is your goal? Because everybody's goal could be, I want to be the best miniature painter in the world. I want to be a studio painter. I want to be a full-time freelancer. Some people might just be like, I just want to learn a little bit and be a good tabletop painter. And all of those are valid. All those are valid endeavors that we should be pursuing. And so then I'm going to look at your measure, and then I'm going to start asking you questions. I don't just give critique. I ask you questions. What do you think it is that you've done to this miniature to help you achieve that goal? What have you done on this miniature that you think you failed at that goal? And failing isn't bad. I think failure is the best thing. Not learning from failure is true failure, but failure is what gets you to the path of success, right? Can't learn by winning.
Nope.
Yep.
So that's the approach we take at the Path of the Worthy. I know that's probably verbose and long-winded, but
no,
it's no shit rant.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's, and for you to sit there and take the time to talk to the individual and say, what were you trying to accomplish with this, and where are you trying to take this, this hobby, what's your next level? And I think that plays an important role, I think, in anything, right?
Yeah, because if you come up to me and I assume, if I assume, well, you're trying to be the greatest miniature painter in the world, and I'm just like, you failed at this, and I just say, well, you failed at becoming good, like, sorry. But if you're like, I just want to be a solid tabletop person and I want to hit bronze, my feedback might be like, you're there, you are so there. You need to keep going. I need to know what you want out of the hobby, not what I want out of your. I need to know what you want out of your hobby. It doesn't matter what I want out of your hobby.
I agree. I like that. I'm going to ask that question to Craig. What do you want out of your hobby, Craig?
I want to be able. I'm always looking to learn. I'm always looking to improve. There's things that I think I do well. There's things that I am, in my mind, I'm horrible at. So for me to sit there and say, what do I want out of my hobby? I want to improve to the next level, to my next level. And I think I want to get to the point where I'm comfortable when somebody comes up and asks me to donate something to a charity event, or, Craig, are you willing to do a commission for me? Because, there are days that imposter syndrome kicks in, and I'm like, I shouldn't even hold a brush. I should get rid of all my paints.
Fun fact, that happens to all of us.
Yeah, oh yeah. And and I'm very thankful that I have met wonderful people in this community that are supportive. I have not experienced too much of the negative. I have experienced the negative. People looking at you going, well, that's just rubbish, and what the hell are you trying to do? But, I'm very thankful for the people in this hobby that I've met along the way. And I strive to be one of those people. I want to encourage people. So. But, you know, and then that's a good question for you, Dave. What do you want out of this hobby? As he's drawing,
Was that me, Craig?
Yes. I was asking you, what do you like to see for yourself out of this hobby?
As I was talking about earlier, where like I've only ever painted online on this show. We've done other shows as well, but it's usually in front of a camera when we do hangouts or whatever. Hangouts is probably the most casual painting I've done. But I am able to see my progress. You know that I don't take anything seriously anyway. We do all these shows just to have some fun, to meet new people, when we get to meet people from all over the world, which is great. That's how we met you. And I enjoy doing that. I enjoy painting, especially painting with other people. I think when I'm doing this on my own, and the reason I don't, when it's summer and we're out in the garden, I try to encourage my son to paint. And he's 10 now, so we're getting to a stage where he's going to start painting minis. You know, he's been painting big things, but now he's going to start painting minis because he's more interested in it. He sees what I'm doing. He sees, like, in the morning, he'll see the Star Wars stuff that I painted, and he'll want to play with it. So I can see my progress. I'm not out there to win awards. I don't care. I'm not that good, and it's not something that I want to do anyway. But when you're playing a game, I can understand, like, when I don't play Warhammer, but I can understand when you see Warhammer gamers play around a table with painted terrain and painted armies, and they're really good players, they're really good people, they know the game. You can see the enthusiasm they have for that. You can see that they are watching this war and battle break out in front of them. And when I paint the minis, when we play D&D games, I've painted those minis. Having the difference between having a painted mini and an unpainted mini on the table for our players is amazing. And for the first time they see it, you bring out a dragon that you've painted or a monster that you've painted, like, oh, wow, what is that? And then you might try and do a special effect twist. And I'm hoping the same for this. When we get to play Shatterpoint, I will be able to stand back and watch and go, look, it's painted. It looks amazing. And it brings an even bigger smile on my face. So for me, that is the outcome, to actually have these pieces that I can look back on and go, as Dallas was talking about, a hobby where I can look back and go, you know what? I enjoyed painting that. I've played it, and now I'm ready to buy, not to give up the game or move on to the next game. I'm ready for the next pack that I like the look of, the next squad pack, because I get to do it all again.
And that's the amazing thing about the hobby, is like, you two have completely different outlooks and goals.
Yeah.
And they're both valid, reasonable, sustainable. And that's what's beautiful about it. Like, because I actually fall in the middle. Like, I actually ride the middle. Like, I run RPGs. I run several games. I mean, when you have my camera up, you can actually see the Kingdom Death behind me. I run that, and I do not put a single unpainted miniature on a table. Never have, never will. And the look on people's faces when you drop that new painted miniature or that new squad pack on the game table that your friend didn't know you bought and you painted in secret, right? Yeah. And they're like, exactly. What? Like, oh no, I did not know you had that. And you're like, gotcha, sucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, but then at the same time, like, I'm always like, you know, how do I get better? How do I push? How do I express an idea in this art? And it's all valid. It's all valid, and that's a beautiful part about this. There's no wrong answer to what. As long as you love what you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I did a D&D campaign, just a one shot for some friends of mine were coming over to visit, and as the DM, you know, they all thought he's just asking me questions about my character, you know. So the guys, if I was helping them kind of flesh out their characters, so forth, so on. And they all sat down to play, and they all had a small wooden chest at each spot on their table. And when they opened up, I had painted their characters. I had picked out a mini from their descriptions and had what I thought from their descriptions that their characters all looked like. And it was a lot of fun for me. Very satisfying to see the looks on their faces. They were all very surprised. And I still hear, they'll be like, I still have that on my shelf at home, or, it's in my bag, and I still use that mini.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had a D&D campaign a couple years ago, and it was the exact same. Like me and Ron Cruzy, who's another professional miniature painter that works for me, we painted every player character miniature for the campaign.
Nice.
And then we worked with the DM to paint all the monsters. We painted, and it's just, and everybody's just, it's so cool when everybody's like, when they're like, when they help you find the miniature and you paint it, you bring it, and they're like, oh my God, that's exactly what I thought it was gonna, that's what he looks like in my head. Like, and you just get so excited, right? My favorite is the escalation between friends, like, Dave, Craig, Steve, if we were playing together, like if only I lived in jolly old England and we were playing on a regular, like I love that moment where, like, you show up for the game night and Dave and Steve like, look what I painted. And I'm like, what? Oh no, that's so badass. And then I go home and I'm like, I'm gonna show Dave, and I go home and I paint something. And then I'm like, look at what I got. And you're like, what? Oh no. And I'm like, and then you go home, you're like, I'm gonna show Dallas what's what. And that escalation between friends, like pushing each other. Oh man, I love that so much in miniatures.
Yes, definitely. Speaking of miniatures, let's go around the table. Steve, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, only let me put my camera on because I hadn't realised I hadn't done that. Zoom. Right, is that focusing?
Hold on, I'll make it big. There you go. It's not quite.
Oh, look at that.
Come on, focus.
There you go.
Right, so there's one on. I am just layering up the highlights very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that slowly working away through the greys to the whites, through the color gradients, with smaller brush strokes each time. So there's one, and I am batch painting another one at the same time. There we go. So one standing with a big gun, and then one kneeling down with a blaster, the 11 blaster. So then after that, I will hit it with a wash probably, and maybe do a little bit of edge highlighting just to pick out the corners and the sharp bits. But it's I think my brush strokes probably need to be a bit smaller. But it looks alright from arm's length, so that's the main point.
Cool. It's looking good. All right, Craig, let's go to you. Oh, look at him.
Yeah, nice.
Starting to get kind of laid down. Don't know what I'm going to do with the base yet, but it's going to be an Imperial droid of some sort.
I love that orange and yellow combination.
Yeah.
Chopper. Hey, Big Tough Pete. Thanks for joining. And Dallas. Let's have a look.
All right.
Where are we at?
Can you see him? Is he zoomed?
Yeah. He's in, yeah.
Oh, I love the face.
I think I can clear it up just a little bit there, right? Hold on.
Oh,
There
yeah.
There it goes.
Look at that.
That is really good.
Wow.
So what did you start with? Really dark green and then go up to yellow?
Actually, I went the opposite way. So let me. Look what I got. Whoop. So I started with bright yellow green.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I mixed in a little yellow green. And then this one is dark yellow green.
Right.
And I just kind of did some shading. And then I mixed in some of this blue, which is deep sea bin.
Yeah.
Which is or dark sea bin, which is just my favorite name of a paint.
Yeah.
Like
It's a wonderful color.
It's like a seaweed. And then I shaded. And then I'm just punching up the highlights one more time.
Okay.
So I'm kind of going like middle high, down low, and then back up high.
Right.
Yeah.
And then for the cloth, I did just a light brown shaded, and then I'm just picking out the edges with a super light brown.
Yeah. That face looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm using little tiny dots and like very wet paint so it's not super thick, and just little tiny dots of it, so it feels more organic and it's not smooth, right? Like we were talking about smoothness earlier. I'm trying to not have smooth blends on his face. I just want like very organic or aquatic shapes on him. This character is a studio favorite at Atomic Mass Games. Kit Fisto and Hondo Naka and Cad Bane.
I've looked at the Hondo Mini, and it's like, so much detail on it, in the face on that, and wonderful job.
So Dave, Steve didn't ask me. Steve didn't ask me about my mini. So
I'm asking Dave. Can I see your stuff?
Sorry, I went straight back into it. So I
went back to painting.
Blend on a shade, and I didn't want to forget where I was at.
We'll make this one zoom.
Right. What are you doing, Dave? How are you getting on?
I've got to wait for the camera to catch up. It's gone a bit blurry.
Yeah.
That red pops against the blue. That red really pops against the blue.
Yeah, that red is dark.
I'm going to lighten the skin. I'm going to paint the sash with a gold pattern. But yeah, I'm using a very bright red this time.
It's come out nice, that red. I like that red.
Yeah, the pose is awesome. I mean, I love that. Look at that.
I just love her sass.
Yeah.
With the two fingers. The 2-finger point.
Yeah. There you go. I'll get some close-up photos, and I'll stick those on the Instagram if people want to see more. But yeah, It's a lovely pose. I'm enjoying that one. There we go. So I'm going to do some gold, and then I'm going to see if I can start on the terrain. Get some of that done. But that is, I'm quite happy with this character, even if I haven't done the skin tats or anything like that. But I'd be quite happy putting it on the table.
Yeah, she seems table ready to me.
Yeah. I have my Darth Maul with me, Dallas, because I was trying to do the facial features for Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, we talked about that last time, right?
Yeah. So if I bring this up on, let's have a look. See if this comes out. So what I ended up doing, I tried doing. So first of all, I painted the whole skull black, and then went over it white in kind of the areas, and then put red over the top. It didn't quite blend in as well as I wanted to. So then, rather than kind of erase and start again, what I did was make an oval shape red, and then I tried to bring in the black. And that was, it's not perfect, but it was a way of trying to break in and make him kind of recognizable. But I got that in, and that seemed to work for me.
Yeah, you're breaking it down into like it's the same philosophy, just a different approach, right? You're breaking it down into those little subsets and just making it successful for you. I mean, I could definitely tell it's Darth Maul.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I wanted. Wow, I couldn't get the face right, but I wanted something. Because again, the artwork on the box is superb. And I was like, I need to try and find a way to do that justice because he has such an iconic face. And I couldn't figure out a way to do it. But eventually, we were talking about this on stream as well. This was a couple of episodes ago. And I was like, well, let's try it this way. And it worked out great. And I had the magnifying glasses on and everything. I was trying to get that in, and it worked really, really well. When that dried, I think it looked fantastic. And again, on the table and at arm's length, it looks great. It looks great. Really pleased with that one. How that one came out. So there was some good tips.
I have to break out the magnifying glasses for Maul as well.
Yeah.
Even at the bigger scales, like that stuff is just really tiny.
How was you going to approach the terrain, Dave?
I'm only going to do one side because I'm going to practice with the brush. So I've got a bigger size brush. I found some cheap ones on Amazon, like pretty big. And this one, for example, it says it's a size 8. And when I hold that up against the terrain like this, so there's the door, and then that's the size of the brush. So that should cover a lot of area. And again, going to I've said this a lot actually. There's a lot of resources out there. So Atomic Mass Games has a Facebook group, which is the official Star Wars Shatterpoint Facebook group. Go check that out. There's a lot of stuff on there. Loads and loads of people on there posting their own paint ups and different color schemes and everything else. Stunning, absolutely stunning. Some have just painted minis. Some have done like dynamic play sets, that kind of thing about what's going on in their games. Amazing. But as well as that, do go to the atomicmassgames.com website. There is a ton of great photography on there. Some of it is separated. We were looking at it earlier. Some of it's separated. Some of it is like, I would say cast shots. If this was a TV series, this would be the dynamic, the cast shot where they're walking towards the camera in slow motion. There are some really awesome pieces in there. And I'll show you this one actually, because if I make, I've got a collection of pictures that I stuck in a PowerPoint. And if I bring this up on screen, you can see it here. And if I take that full screen, is that going to go full screen? No. Come on, work for me. There we go. So you can see my mouse moving around. You see this doorway behind the clone trooper.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use that as a color scheme. So I'm going to use gray for metals and a kind of, I'm using a sand color for the kind of yellow. And that's it. Those are my two main colors. And then I'm going to add wash and highlights and dry brushing over the top. The keypad will be individual. I'm going to do that differently. But I'm just going to try to slap it on because it's terrain and there's a lot of stuff I want to put on it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be giving that a go.
For the metal that I did on the base of mine to offset against the sand color that I used, I mixed it with a little bit of blue to make it like a blue steel color, and that gave it a cartoony style that I quite liked. I might use that on the others.
That's a great idea. Yeah,
that's a good plan.
So I'm going to put on. So I'm using a sand color, and I'm just going to apply that because I know that I can come back and revisit that. With,
using speed paint.
I'm using speed paint, so I'm going to be using sand golem color because it gives a nice coverage. So I'm going to give it a go and see what that looks like. Now, my original idea, because I built these on stream last episode 5, and I built a whole load of stuff which are primed. My original idea was to see if I could cheat because there's a lot of buildings in the core set, and it's a lot of, if you use the same colors on the box, like what I'm going to do, it's a lot of gray for metal and sand color for like the wall coverings. And my idea to cheat was, can I buy color primer and prime it in those colors? I didn't find any.
Oh.
So I just primed it in white as I normally do. And now I'm going to try to paint it on with the bigger brush just to see if that helps, if that works, what it might look like. Because that's also something I haven't really done. Even when, if you remember when we painted the dragons, I painted the giant red dragon.
Yeah.
Which is like a $120 dragon. It was massive. I painted that with a normal brush. So I'm not doing that because that took a long time.
That seems like a lot of work.
It was. It looks good.
That's the purgatory of painting days.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it looks great. You got all the details.
Yeah.
Each scale done individually.
Yeah.
So I'm literally just going to put this on and then go over it with a wash and some dry brush. I think that's my plan now. But I'm going to be seeing how quick that I can apply this and what the. I'm just going to do it on one side just so I can see what the end effect is and then adjust accordingly. And again, and coming back to what I mentioned earlier, I watched Will do this as a video on the Atomic Mass YouTube channel using airbrush, and this is the same building, same model. So I can go back and compare. But so far, the brush is actually working pretty good. I'm helping to spread this paint around.
I like that you watched an airbrush video and you realize you don't have to have the airbrush. And I think that that's an important note. It's like you don't have to have the airbrush if you watch somebody do something with an airbrush. Now, everything people do with an airbrush can be accomplished with a brush.
It's just a tool.
It's just a tool. I mean, most of the time I'm like, I should airbrush this. And then I'm like, oh, it's going to take me 20 minutes to clean my airbrush. And so I just don't. I was like, the brushes are out.
It's an interesting topic. Craig, do you ever use airbrush?
I try.
I don't have one, so I've never tried.
Fight with it more than, or I feel like I fight with it more than I accomplish.
Yeah. And Steve, you've got an airbrush. You've got like a mini airbrush.
I've got a mini airbrush. I only use it for terrain.
Which is great.
Because it's quick. I mean, that's it.
That's it, yeah.
Because it's quick.
It is super quick for terrain. Like, especially like you just get all the terrain built and just do all the base coats, maybe like a little cast down, highlight or shadow, and then you just got to clean the airbrush once. You just have so much work done for you.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably for the metal, because I mean, there you go. You can see that, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bloody hell, that was quick.
Yeah,
that looks good. That looks good.
I have slapped it on. You can see I haven't held back there. I've just gone in, pushed it into the corners, pushed it around.
But you want that bit of variation in the colour anyway. So by slapping it on where you've put potentially more than one coat in the same place, you're going to get those darker and lighter parts, which is ideal.
Exactly. And what I want to see
is if you let that dry and then on the picture it's darker on the edges where the metal is, I think. So you could just sort of very gently brush in some more paint around the corners or something.
So another thing I thought of. So I'm going to use when we talk about speed paints, I'm going to use runic grey as my metal grey.
Yeah.
And then dry brush some metallic silver or gunmetal over the top, so that bits of it will pick up the light.
Yeah. That's good.
That's my plan. Whether that happens or not, I do not know.
Y'all are touching on some interesting stuff there that goes back to what we were speaking about earlier, like the smoothness versus not smooth. Yeah. One of the big things I do when I paint my terrain is that exact same thing Steve is saying, is like that roughness makes buildings and cars and junk piles or whatever you're painting for terrain look more realistic. And so a lot of times, like, you could do that thing with the airbrush where you kind of flick the trigger and just kind of, and it spits little blasts.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing buildings, I spit all over with the airbrush, all over little spackles, and then I glaze over it with a wash or a dry brush, so you can still see it underneath, but ever just so slightly, and it just adds that texture, that like realism, that grime, that grit, that lived-in vibe to your buildings.
Yeah.
Nope,
That's
nothing perfect.
Tip, I hadn't thought of doing that, but you're right. If you sort of punch the trigger, you do get that spackle.
Yeah, when I was first learning how to use an airbrush, I'd get those spackles, and I was just like, oh, I'm ruining my stuff. And then I'm like realizing, oh, that's actually like good. So now I purposely do that on my buildings.
So trying to teach yourself to use an airbrush, is it easier to try to learn to teach yourself on terrain or jump right into on a mini?
That's a good question. Boy, that's tough, because I think a lot of people are afraid to do it on a mini because I'm going to say something that I don't like. I'll ruin the mini. And I never understood that phrase. Philosophically, I get it, but personally, I just, you're not ruining the mini. You're painting the mini, and you're having fun, and you're learning on it, hopefully, so that the next mini is better. So I don't think ruining is the right thing, but I think that that's most people's fear, right? Is like trying something new and ruining the mini. I think terrain is more forgiving because people treat terrain as a more forgiving lesson, right?
Right. Well, you're not trying to get overall minute detail out of terrain for the most part, or
you're just trying to get some cool shadows and understanding what the airbrush does goes a long way, right? Or how the airbrush works. So, I'm going to say terrain and just get stuck in. You can't ruin it. You can't mess it up. You're going to learn how to control the airbrush. And that's really what you want to learn. You want to learn how to control the airbrush, clean the airbrush, maintain the airbrush. Get some buildings, get some cars, get whatever terrain you got, and just start doing.
We are into the last half hour, guys.
Already?
Where's the time going?
Dave, is your watch fast?
No. Considering how much I've been lagged up today as well, it's on time.
Well, I guess I just feel like I haven't had the time on this mini since I had to start at a later time since I was penalized.
It's in 5 seconds, Craig. Made all the difference.
I'm loving the soundtrack.
Yep. It's great just to have something there, and then suddenly you find that you're concentrating too much, and then you start listening to the music, and it's it's one of those things that when you stream, you can't obviously have your favorite music on in the background or have Netflix or anything like that because you're not allowed to. But what do you do when you paint for yourself? Do you have TV or other streams? Do you just listen to music, or is it just quiet?
I tend to listen to a lot of music when I paint. I'm also, I have what I call my painting movies.
Yeah.
My kid no longer lives with me, but when he did, he knew that if those movies were playing before he even made it into the living room of the studio, he knew if he heard Jaws playing, Dad is painting. So don't come in there all rabble rousing. You need to, I love a good movie that I don't need to look up at, and I just know it. And music is always good. I have to have music in the background, like even right now. Like I have to have music in the background.
Yeah. Well, this, I'll show you this again, Steve. This is just a quick first coat. There you go.
Yep.
And what was that? 20 minutes, if that? That's it's only one side, but that's quite effective.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, now so I can go into that. I'll wait for it's dry, but what I do is pick out some of the detail, get in that properly, pick out some buttons, and tidy it up. But then add a wash and some dry brushing. I think maybe go over the grey again. It's quite light. Do I want it lighter or darker? I'm not sure. Different metallic sheens, I think, could help.
Just when you add the wash, though, just don't put the wash on the flat bits because it will look funny. So put the wash at the edges.
Yeah. I'm quite impressed how that's come out. Mm. Ooh. Let's get a piece of that one. And how you doing, Craig? Is that a happy one or not a happy one.
Oh, that's a what did I do with that paint?
Where did I put it?
I decided last night I was trying to organize a paint set, and so I took them and just piled them on the middle of my desk. And then, of course, they got all put back in different spots. I'm waiting on a Kickstarter that I did a couple years ago for a paint rack. And they keep telling me it's going to ship.
What's special about the paint rack?
There's probably nothing really special, but it is a stand. And it's got pull-out sliding drawers in it. So each drawer will hold 48 different bottles of paints. So, and then you can add little add-ons to it. I can't remember whose Kickstarter it was now, but I'll get an email once a month from them with an update, and it was supposed to have shipped in October and then November. Every month we seem to slide a month. So, but people people are getting them, so I'll see it eventually.
As long as people start getting them, yes. If you have that situation where no one is getting them, then that's a harder thing to manage. So something else we were talking about earlier before we came online. I think it's before you joined Dallas. We were talking to Craig, where we've started to rewatch The Mandalorian because my boys. Oh, yeah. We said, no, it's good, and he was like, "Oh, is there anything scary in there? Is it going to make me jump?" He's 10, and I said, "No, you'll love it. You've seen the films. There's nothing here that you're going to be make you scary." We watched the first episode, and he was hooked. He was like, "Wow, what happened here? What's happening here? What's doing here?" And I said, "It's great." And then I was showing him the SHATTERPOINT sets because I had the website open, and he's like, "Is that the Mandalorian? Is that Grogu?" And yeah, he's like, "Can we get that one?" I was like, "Well, no, we're going to the Games Expo in when is it? May, June. I said, "I'll see what I can find at the various shops there." So, yeah, he's
hooked.
He's very keen. Yeah.
Dave, does he have an interest in games and trying to I want to go with Dad to the convention, or I know you work at the convention, but
yeah, he wouldn't handle the convention because there's too many people and too much noise, and he's I don't think it would be his scene.
Mm-hmm.
But he loves the games. I mean, we're playing. He wants to play SHATTERPOINT. I've said to him several times, we got to build it before we can play it. But he wants to open the box and play it. But we've been playing Gloomhaven: Jaws of the Lion with him, and he has no problems with that. He plays D&D with us. We have a family game that he plays in. He runs 2 characters, so his first ever D&D game, and he's running 2 characters.
Nice.
So he's very good. His school has a D&D club as well, so he'll be joining that as well at some point. So he's really into it. He loves it all. And we do some, as I said, we do some painting in the summer in the garden when the sun's out, so we can. But he's getting more and more interested into mini painting. So I think he's seeing this stuff now and really wanting to get into it, which is nice. I like that.
Yeah.
It'll be more stuff that we can do together, which is cool.
Yeah, my son did mini painting for a long time, and now he's in college and does not because of time.
Yep.
But he's always played D&D with me and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun when your family gets involved with games with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So my son was always more interested in going to the comic book conventions with me when I would go to those. And
yeah,
I have vivid memories of flying to Chicago to Wizard World when he was 5-6 years old, and he went with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember getting on the early morning business flight, and we get our seats, and the gentleman sits down beside us, and he looks over, and he just got the grumpiest look on his face. So he's sitting next to this kid, and he's just going to be, and it was Spencer's first flight, and I didn't know what to expect, and that plane took off, and that kid fell asleep. And he was just out. And for me, from Columbus to Chicago, it's an hour flight, if that. And the guy, as he was getting off the plane, turned around, and he was like, I just have to tell you, he said, I had my doubts. I thought this was going to be a miserable flight with a young kid on the plane. And so we go, and the convention was at the same center where Adepticon used to be.
Oh, the Schaumburg.
Yeah, Schaumburg area, yep. And so we get there, my friends and stuff, we hang out all day, and then their tradition was they always went to a movie that night. They'd pick a movie and they'd go see a movie or whatever. So movies in Chicago at the time were not cheap. They were always more expensive than anywhere else we went. Get there, and we were seeing the Sean Connery League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yep.
Opening sequence takes off. The music comes in. Kid grabs his ears, covers his ears, looks at me, and says, I want to leave. So I spent the next 2 hours out in the lobby with him. And had to wait to video to see the movie. So very expensive evening of movie tickets that we didn't get to enjoy, and Dipping Dots ice cream. But you learn real quick that they're going to do what they want to do, and you're just along for the ride. I never had to worry about losing him at the convention center. He always stayed close, always, but he's never had an interest to go to like Gen Con with me.
Yeah.
He did go to PAX East in Boston one year with me. And that was a experience for both of us. That was just a completely different scene.
We are less. Well, we're 15 minutes to the end of the show, but we're 10 minutes from brushes down.
Oh my gosh!
And then we get to vote. Steve, how you doing? You've gone all quiet.
I was hair drying.
I'm
doing all right. We're getting there.
at least. So Dallas, with the refresh and relaunch of Legion, is there a change in the manufacturing of those minis?
We are moving all Legion miniatures to be released in hard plastic instead of soft plastic. So Legion started out as a game that utilizes soft plastic miniatures, and eventually started utilizing the hard plastic. We are going back there and we are redoing everything to be released in hard plastic. So anything that was soft plastic will eventually get a hard plastic version. That's a resculpt. Like, we're going to completely go back there and resculpt them. Guessy up the look and
Nice.
release them like that.
Great. I have some clones that I built, primed, and then started to paint, and they just did not, no matter what I did, they did not want to take the paint. And I don't know if it was a bad batch of primer, but I'd primed other things out of that.
Yeah, interesting.
Stuff, but they just, no matter what. So I was like, set them aside, and then eventually I'll mess with them again. But and it's one of those things it's on my shelf right above my painting desk, so I see them all the time. And it's like, oh, I ought to try that again, and then I pick something else up.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm going to build a Empire Force pretty soon, and I am stoked because the new hard plastic stormtroopers are just awesome looking, and the new hard plastic Vader. I'm really excited to get my brushes on.
Yeah.
I've already painted 3 ATSTs, so I'm a tread head. And I'm doing my stormtroopers not white. I'm not doing white stormtroopers. So I'm excited to do something different.
Okay.
They'll be done.
Was it in Sorry, go ahead.
There you go. I was just going to show you. I'm going to show you my test for my stormtroopers.
Oh yeah.
I painted one of the new stormtrooper riot control squad. If y'all have seen this.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. Nice.
That's really good.
So this will be what my entire stormtrooper force looks like, is this dark gray with red accents and the cream white shoulder pad.
It reminds me a little bit of the Fallout armor. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, the T90 power armor.
Yeah. That looks really good.
Thanks. Yeah, I want them to look dirty and heavy. I want because like I said, I'm a treadhead, so like I want to lean into that like heavy artillery or not artillery, like heavy, heavy tanks, and like these are part of the heavy tank squad, right? Like they got those 3 ATSTs marching alongside them. I'll probably grab a couple of occupier tanks and put them with it. And I just like that blue glow on the goggles.
Yeah,
it stands out, doesn't it?
I like that. I like the what was it? The Sand Trooper that's coming out from one of the Rogue One squad packs.
Oh, in the Rogue One that has the Shore Troopers.
Yeah, the Shore Trooper. Yep.
Yeah, and then did y'all see? And so also in this Riot Control Squad, I don't know if y'all have seen this, but in the Riot Control Squad, you get to take 2 KX droids.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And so I done this one in the same scheme with the red. Those little blue.
I like that. That's cool.
I love Shore Trooper helmets, by the way. Like,
was it in Bad Batch where we saw? It was in comics originally, but was it in Bad Batch where we saw the zombie stormtroopers?
In Ahsoka, yeah.
Oh, Ahsoka, yeah. Is there any plans to do the zombie troopers? Because you could. I was thinking about. I wonder if you could do it as terrain. So then your 2 squads, opposing forces, the 2 players, still have their objectives. But if you treat the zombies like terrain, the terrain is moving. The terrain chases you.
Chick and I always say, like, on a long enough timeline, we want to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see like some terrain bits of like different shattered trooper helmets and bits and bobs of armor laying around. And
well, so you saying that, I've got this piece which was let me bring this up and zoop. So I found this piece as well. So this is in the core set, but this is some dirt, and there's a critter sitting on top, and then you realize that it's sitting on top of a buried R2 unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. I'm going to paint him like R2, R2D2, obviously. But I'm going to leave that as a kind of a little Easter egg for when we do the public event. So it's on the terrain, and people just go, "Oh look, there's a critter sitting on top of this. Oh, it's an R2 unit." So I love that. I love those little bits. They're quite nice.
Yeah, and you can, if you have an idea, you can make them. It's really easy to take some parts and make little piles of stuff, and customize it to your table and what your story is. And we totally encourage that, right? Like,
yeah. Right, it is 5 minutes to, so we are brushes down. We're going to have a quick whip round so everyone can see how far we got and what we've done. And then we get to vote. So for those of you joining live, if you want to be vocal, if you want to be heard, you can shout out in live chat who you think is the best painter. But other than that, we'll also go around the table and place our own votes as well. So, Dallas, you're ready. Brushes, hair dryers down, Steve.
He gets an extra 5 seconds because Cobalt lose. Like, we just move the seconds around.
Exactly. There we go. Let's have a look.
Where am I at? Oh, it's so hard to find the camera.
The lightsaber color stands out massively.
There we go. Well, let's get that in focus. Here we go.
Look at that.
Wow. I can't believe you've done that at the same amount of time it's taken me to like 2 black troopers that were primed in black anyway. That is outstanding.
So I did. The skin was the colors we talked earlier. I shaded down and highlight back up. The dark robes was a single coat of like a light brown on the palette, and then a dark brown mixed with blue for the shading. And then I just did some like little on the highlights.
Yeah.
The paint was like 2 coats of washes and then a little highlight. The boots was the same thing. It was just 1 wash and 2 highlights. And then the armor, the white armor was 2 shades and then a highlight. And then he's real close.
Those braces look really good. I mean, the tunic and the pants are good, but the braces are the thing that stands out the most. It's
a light gray, and then so I did a light gray mixed with pure white. I'll put it like actually on the camera, actually on the palette for you. So this light gray, it's got a little blue in it mixed with white. So I made that color.
Yeah.
I did that all over. And then this is the first shade. And then I added a little bit more black and made a darker tone for the, and then I just came back with that pure white. So it's literally three steps in a base coat. Real quick and dirty.
The bold titanium white.
Painting white is all about like stay away from the white. I don't want to use the white. I want to use grays. And then just come in with those final touches. That's the heavy titanium white from Prochrome. That's just the final touches, and it just makes it read white for you. So there you go. Lightsaber was super easy. Transparent yellow mixed with transparent green, and then and then add a little white. Oh, you see it right there. Yellow, green, add white. Do it along 2 edges. Call it a day. Super easy. That's mine.
Very good.
That's awesome. Could you do like glow in the dark paint for the lightsaber on that one?
Oh yeah, I mean if you had glow in the dark paint or the fluorescence, you could totally do that.
That'd be a nice touch. I like that. Again, just if you've got them on the shelf at home and suddenly you see the wood lightsabers light up when you turn the lights off. I think that'd be awesome.
Black light. Do your whole table at black light.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then do all your miniatures with black light highlights on the lightsabers and like OSL, and then turn all lights out and light up their whole table with black light.
That'd be cool. We can do it. Right, that's awesome. Craig, how are we getting on? Oh, there he is.
That's very cool.
Look at that chopper.
Yeah, I'm just getting bases down.
I'll say it again. I love the orange on that.
Yep, pretty pleased with how it's coming so far.
What green did you use for the smoke?
That is Pro Curls for fluorescent. That's a mouthful. Yellow.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the Pro Curl fluorescent yellow has a green tinge to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I'll come back in with some transparent yellow and try to bring it back into a yellow family more. But that's the fun of playing with that.
That's awesome. Steve, over to you.
Right, let's find my mouse.
And a reminder for those of you watching live, if you want to shout out in live chat who you think the best painted miniature is, let us know. The votes count. We're going to find out who goes home with a coveted Patches Gold Star.
You get the minor stars to earn the major stars.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. So how many, when you've said you were batch painting, Steve, how many did you get to do?
2. I've done 2.
But look at that.
It's a bit it's a bit scrappy in places, I would have to say. But I'm pleased with it, and like I say, from arm's length, it looks fine. When I'm super zoomed in, it does look a bit scrappy. I think the sitting down one has probably come out a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but
So
I'm
saying
happy.
you're saying it looks scrappy. Do you follow Jose Da Vinci on Instagram?
I don't know. No.
Check out Jose Da Vinci. He paints like that. Like he paints with these little scribbles.
That's how exactly how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should take a look at that because I think that you're painting the same way as him, and it's very inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like the sitting down one more out of the two of them, but I'm more than pleased with what I've done, and I would certainly put that on the table after putting some red on the buttons and some green for the eyepieces and stuff like that. And I've got to paint the guns, but I'll have to look up what the 11D blaster looks like, and on the bigger blaster I might do some weapon effects on the end. Do some wet blending with some red and yellows or something. But yeah, I'm pleased with what I've done, and I've done two, which is good because I haven't painted many on these streams. I've only completed Cad Bane, which is still my favourite, and I'll show it just for props.
Hold on, there it is.
It's my Cad Bane.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Still my favourite one. Yeah, I'm happy. We're good.
Cool. Right, you can do the camera, Steve. The Ventress.
You need to put your minicam on, don't you?
And then go full. How this one's looking. Oh, hello. It's me. I think the camera. Or did you swap the camera, Steve?
It's cut our audio. When your minicam goes on, we can't hear anyone.
Oh, right. Oh, don't use the scenes on the side. Just use the mini one.
Right.
So there you go.
I still love that red. That's good. That red. Did you put the gold on the sash? Did you do the gold on the sash?
Yeah. So gold on the sash.
Yeah.
Which so metallic, so it gives it a nice sheen. You can see it there, picking up the light. Mm-hmm. I've added a gloss varnish to the sabers as well, so they're nice and shiny.
Yeah.
I've used silver on the saber handles, so it's nice and shiny. I've still got to do the skin detailing, but I'm really happy with that. I think that would be happy on my table as it is. And then you can see look, just been painted up, using up the extra paint. Don't let the paint go to waste. So there's some extra bits there, and then there we go. Just the one side, you can see that's that. But
yeah,
and you can see like really thick plastic as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just the first coat. I haven't done the wash or anything, but I'll do that over bits. But yeah, that's how it's coming along.
That's cool.
There you go.
You're gonna paint the lighting on the top.
Yeah. So there is there's lights as well. So based on the other one, you got lights all around the edges, cables. There's some buttons and things. So I think that will really like help and bring it to life and all kinds of stuff. But it's a nice size as well. I mean, look at that. That's a proper.
Yep.
Yeah.
A handful of terrain, and then you think that's just one level. So in the core set, you get a double level. There's also terrain where you got called the high ground. We got I think 3 or 4 levels high.
Right.
So that looks superb. Once all that's done, it's going to look amazing on the table. So there we are. Right, who's voting for who? Shout them out. Go nuts. And the winner is
I'm gonna have to go with Dallas, I think.
Rude.
One for Dallas.
I'm going to go with Steve tonight.
Well done.
I'm going with Steve.
Okay, we've got two for Steve. Two for two. I'm going to go with Craig because I love the little robot. I think he's awesome. But I also like the sabers, the saber that Dallas has done. I think that is awesome. The color effect is incredible.
I'm sorry, but now I have to be referred to as Dallas the Sabers. Like, just I'm just changing my name to Dallas the Sabers Kemp.
Did you see what we used on your the thumbnail for episode 3? Did you see that?
I didn't read it close.
Because when you first came on, you had your saber and you lit it up. So I took a steal of that and used that as the thumbnail for the video, and it looks awesome because it's all glowing and everything. So it looks superb. So the winner is Steve
Of the coveted gold star.
of the gold star. There you go, Steve. Look at that. That's the gold star award. You've had a hard week. There you go. And we make it flash for you as well. There you go.
Look at that. Let's move around the screen as well.
Not anymore. We haven't got the budget anymore for that, Steve. We changed. It's all done. But there we go. Again, Dallas, thank you so much again for joining us. It's always lovely to have you, to hang out and to chat.
I had a blast.
he's finishing all that little detail. Look.
I am. I'm sorry. I'm cheating. Brush is down.
It's still going.
I'm a loose cannon. I know.
Just blink below the camera. He never knows then.
Yeah. Exactly.
We make it over here, right? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
I follow no rules. No rules.
Yeah.
None.
So the problem is that 3 of us are really competitive and want to finish our minis, and Dave's just out. I want to. Show's over now. I'm done.
I want to go to bed. Yeah.
I'll be here for another 30 minutes finishing these off.
Look, my mini is great. It's finished. Look, I can see it. It's finished. Done.
That's the 3-foot rule.
Yeah, exactly. It's done.
That's
again,
what I wish I could do was the 3-foot rule, but unfortunately, I do this all of the time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Once again, Dallas. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always awesome. Yeah, exactly. It's always awesome to hang out with you. Thank you for coming back. I don't know why you came back, but we did something right or wrong, as I said at the start. But lovely to hang out with you. Craig, as always, superb work. Steve, we get you push the buttons.
Oh. Steve, button pusher.
Button pusher, Steve.
That's my official band badges corporate position.
Title.
Button pusher.
Yeah. It's a button pusher. But until next time, we'll be back next week for some more brush off shadow points. I don't know what I'm going to paint. I might paint the rest of the building, but I need to make some more models. So stand by for that. But until next time, ta-ra.
See it.